Hi guys, welcome back again. Thank you so much for tuning in. Guys, we're gonna be checking a video today, and this one is the Pop's Mysterious Army. Okay, it's a documentary, so please let me know your thoughts. On this video, I have no clue what we are actually going in. Okay, this is absolutely my first time. Let me know more about this in the comments. Without further delay, let's dive in. But before then, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, share and subscribe so you don't miss out on my videos. Plus help my channel to grow, guys. Take me there. All right, let's do this.
The world's smallest army, the Swiss Guard. With their multicolored uniforms and medieval weapons, tourists visiting St. Peter's Square in Vatican City might find them quaint. What most don't realize is that these men are indeed soldiers, trained in close combat and protection.
Wow. I mean, who could have thought?
Today, the Swiss Guard form an army of 135 men, all of whom have taken an oath to lay down their lives for the sovereign pontiff.
If someone runs at the Pope with a knife, I'm not saying I'd be proud to kill that person, but I think it would be necessary for the good of the Church.
An army with rituals from a bygone age, and traditional weapons forged by an Austrian family whose methods have not changed since the Middle Ages.
The hook is for pulling in, and the point for stabbing.
They are between 19 and 30 years old, and have agreed to put 2 years of their lives.
Like 2 years of their lives between 19 and 30 years old. Wow, that is such a prime age. Who could have thought? Like, I had no clue about all of this. This is a great. Wow, I love
Lives
this.
on hold to serve their faith and the Pope. Who are these young men whose lives seem to be out of sync with the modern world?
So committed.
We are going deep into the heart of the Vatican's mysterious army.
Swiss Guards. Pop's Mysterious Army.
Every year, the Vatican recruits its troops from Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Swiss soldiers protecting the Pope is an over 500-year-old tradition.
Alright guys, I'm really sorry about this, but I'm just curious, okay? The Pope recruiting his guards from Switzerland. Does it mean that Switzerland has the highest security rate? Like, Switzerland has the highest security personnel, like recruiting his guards from Switzerland. Wow. Okay, I'm totally new to this, guys. I'm really new. I have no clue about it. Please let me know, fill me in more about this, okay? Wow.
We are in Fribourg, in the heart of French-speaking Switzerland. This is where Leo has lived all his life, but at the age of 20, he's about to make a radical change. In a few days' time, he'll be leaving for Rome to serve the Pope.
Sports clothes, linens, toiletries, an Italian dictionary for learning Italian, and something a bit special, the army gas mask. We'll have to see what we do with it.
Oh my God.
Leo has already finished his compulsory military service in Switzerland.
Compulsory.
His bedroom has unusual
All right, I'm gonna chip in here again. Compulsory military service in Switzerland. Doesn't mean that as a citizen of Switzerland, it is compulsory for every member, for every citizen to serve in the Swiss military? Okay, I'm just getting to I know that there are countries that make it like, I think I know that about Finland, but I had no clue. It was the same. It's the same system with Switzerland. Okay, guys, this is incredible.
decorations for someone of his age, religious pictures, a photo of John Paul II, and miniature Swiss guards. For this young man, it's a childhood dream come true.
J'y songe depuis que je suis tout petit.
I've been dreaming of this since I was a little boy. What an honor to be able to be so close to the Pope. And then I thought, what an honor to be able to join the Swiss Guard. You can learn so much there. All about the history of the Vatican and about our religion, as well as the military side of things. There's a whole host of things that interest and intrigue me, all in one place. And I decided, this is a unique opportunity, why not seize it and go for it?
Oh man, this is great.
He applied a few months ago and was accepted. The Vatican then asked him to sign this surprising letter of commitment.
I hereby certify that I'm a Swiss citizen, that I practice the Roman Catholic faith, and live according to the precepts of the Church.
A solemn undertaking in which Leo declares his willingness to defend the Pope, whatever the cost.
I am therefore even ready to give my life for the Holy Father and his legitimate successors.
Leo's decision to sign up was no accident. His father, now a social worker, was himself a Swiss Guard 30 years ago. Here he is in full uniform in the 1990s.
It was a great experience for me. I was the same age as Leo and he left. It was something extraordinary, and I have many wonderful memories.
Leo meets all the criteria required by the Vatican. He is Swiss, unmarried, a practicing Catholic, over 1.74 meters tall, and has completed his military service. His parish priest served as a character reference.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Well, and you?
I've come for my suit,
Yes.
if it's ready.
Yes, it's ready.
Thank you.
The final requirement before his departure is a black suit. The suit worn by Swiss Guards when they travel with the Pope.
T'es stressé un peu? Are you a bit nervous?
Un peu, ouais.
Yeah, a bit. I'm leaving my comfort zone. There's the excitement of setting off on an adventure and saying goodbye to the family, saying all the goodbyes.
Les adieux, ça
It all feels a bit strange.
fait bizarre aussi, ça fait tout bizarre.
Like he's totally committed.
Like
to
all
this.
new recruits, Leo has signed up for 26 months with the Swiss Guard. It's the first time he has left home for such a long period.
I'm very happy for him, but of course I'm going to miss him, that's for sure.
Ça, c'est sûr.
It's going to be really strange.
Je suis fière de toi.
But I'm proud of you.
Ça me fait plaisir.
Merci.
Thank you.
Wow, this is great. Wow. Like who would have thought?
Rome, a few days later. The 14 new recruits to the Swiss Guard enter the Vatican. Leo is one of them.
Il y a du stress, il y a de l'excitation.
I'm nervous,
de l'impatience.
excited, impatient.
Hâte de savoir
I can't wait to start living my new adventure.
de vivre de nouvelles aventures, en fait.
These young men are, of course, attracted by the military aspect of this adventure. But that's not all. They are all faithful and committed Catholics, like Grégoire.
There's not just the military side to the Swiss Guard, there's the whole religious side. And by serving at the heart of the Catholic faith, I hope to deepen and strengthen my faith.
Encore plus en moi.
Every year, the Vatican recruits around 30 new Swiss Guards. They discover the barracks where they will live for the next 2 years. A long corridor leading to sparse rooms, no doors, barely 8 square meters, and 2 narrow beds.
3 minuten, encore 3 minutes.
3 more minutes. No talking.
They have a few minutes to settle in and put on their costumes under the watchful eye of their experienced instructor, René, who has been a Swiss Guard for 6 years.
The Vatican is a different world. We have to explain how things work and what they have to respect. We expect strict discipline.
Frankly, the age at which they are picked is actually the best time. It's the prime time of their lives, and being put in this place is, I mean, what more training does your 20-year-old child deserves other than this? This is just great. What I love most is their willingness, their commitment, their patriotic act. Wow, this is great.
For some, there's a bit of panic. They try to manage with the help of tutorials on the internet.
Is this your first time?
No, but it's been a long time. In the army, after you've done it once, that's it. You just loosen it and put it back on.
Help each other with your ties.
So matured already.
Are you ready?
And while they are all dressed up in their best suits, it's not for a welcome party.
Welcome party.
The last one out turns off the light.
The young recruits have been here for less than an hour, and they will immediately be immersed in the atmosphere of the Vatican. A mass celebrated in the chapel reserved for the Swiss Guard. They all know that they are entering a different world, a closed universe, governed by age-old rules and forbidden to ordinary citizens. The Vatican is a mysterious and secret place. There is, of course, the well-known face, the one that tourists see, St. Peter's Square and Basilica, which host millions of visitors every year. With all the folk heritage, the religious trinkets, and the unmissable photos of Pope Francis. But above all, the Vatican is the seat of Catholicism, an independent state right in the heart of Rome, the smallest country in the world, just half a square kilometer. It's from here that the Pope reigns over 1.4 billion Catholics. In the Vatican, he is all-powerful, one of just a few absolute monarchs left in the world. It's a place of influence and power, surrounded by high walls riddled with surveillance cameras. The Vatican is permanently protected. Outside its borders by the army and the Italian police. Inside by a group of Italian gendarmes and by the Swiss guards, who have been providing security for the Pope for over 500 years. It all began in the 16th century when Pope Julius II decided to hire an army of 150 Swiss mercenaries for his protection. At the time, these Swiss warriors were renowned for their bravery in battle and, above all, their unfailing loyalty. Amazingly, the tradition still continues, and the Swiss Guard still retains its iconic armor and uniform. A uniform that Gregoire and Leo, like all the new recruits, dream of donning. For the moment, they only have the shoes.
The shoes really click.
Oh, amazing. Perfect.
Oh my god, this is great.
It's the day their uniforms will be fitted. The Swiss Guard's tailor's workshop is located in the barracks. All the uniforms are made to measure here.
Lower your arms. Thank you. 42 and a half.
The person in charge here is A.T. Ciccioni. He makes over 50 uniforms a year.
I've been doing this job since 1997, so I'm starting my 25th year with the Swiss Guard.
The tailor has worked for 3 popes since he started this job. The Swiss Guard's uniform is a legacy of the Italian Renaissance. 154 pieces of wool, assembled entirely by hand.
It takes us 39 hours to sew a uniform.
It's just wonderful. We've always been able to see them, but never to put them on. And now finally we can have our measurements taken and be able to touch them, put them on piece by piece. It's such a pleasure.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
During their 2-year service, the Swiss Guards live almost exclusively inside the Vatican. They rarely leave. They eat and sleep in the barracks. After 4 months in the dormitory, Gregoire now has a room with a view of Rome.
In Switzerland, I had a view of the mountains, but here I can see the Castel Sant'Angelo and other historic monuments. It's a big change, and I'm really enjoying it.
Gregoire's life is quasi-monastic, the life of a soldier monk entirely dedicated to the Pope.
When you put on the uniform, you're representing an institution that's over 2,000 years old. What we represent with the uniform is the Holy Father, the Church. It's no small thing.
Gregoire is on call day and night. Like all the new recruits, his role is to keep watch over the entrances to the Vatican.
Capito. Camarade, ti prendo il posto. Camarade, ti lascio il posto. Grazie.
Gregoire, like his colleagues, has no time off during the weekend.
Buonasera, Sora.
Sei nuovo?
Sì. Buonasera, prego.
And 30 days holiday a year.
Some people prefer to spend their youth traveling the world and studying. As for us, for at least 2 years, I give all the time I have to the Church. And I believe you have to give yourself to it completely. I'm not saying that you have to totally forget about yourself, but you have to put most of your interests aside.
They sometimes work up to 60 hours a week.
So we earn around 1,500 euros a month, I'd say.
That isn't much.
It isn't much, but for Italy it's fine. It's the average wage in Italy. But then for Switzerland it's almost nothing. The average salary in Switzerland is about 5,000 francs. Here with 1,500 euros, we definitely aren't living in Switzerland. So it shows that we're here to serve. We didn't come here for the money.
But in return, these young soldiers are entitled to a few privileges, such as free access to places normally off-limits to ordinary citizens, including the Vatican Gardens, an incredible oasis of greenery in the heart of the city. The gardens make up more than half the surface area of the Vatican. They are normally reserved for the priests, monks, and nuns who live there. But the Swiss Guards can train there whenever they like.
It's certainly a breathing space for the city and for us. We're lucky to have this. The people who live around here in Rome, who don't have access to these gardens, don't have this nature and peace.
In the evenings, there is little time for relaxation. The guards can leave the Vatican whenever they like, but they rarely have the time. So Leo and his friends never venture very far into Rome. Their regular hangout is a bar just 200 meters from the Vatican walls.
It's over there. You can just see Morrison's written under the arch.
They try to meet there at least once a week.
Ciao, buonasera.
One beer, but no more. Because even when they are not on duty, the Swiss Guards represent the Pope.
It's a great responsibility because we represent the values of the Pope and the Catholic Church. When we arrive somewhere, people know that we're the Swiss Guards. So personally, I couldn't allow myself to end up passed out under a table, drunk, throwing up.
The Pope himself reminds us every year. During the private audience he grants to the new guards and their parents, he says, "You are my business cards."
Du Père, du Fils et du Saint-Esprit. Amen. Merci Seigneur de nous avoir donné ce repas. Prions pour ceux qui n'en ont pas et prions pour ceux qui nous l'ont fait. Amen.
Even at the bar, they practice their religion.
Bon appétit.
Personally, before, in Switzerland, I didn't do it all the time. But once I got here, we did it regularly. It's a habit you get into. I'm not ashamed about it. And if someone has a problem, they can come and talk to me about it.
Doesn't it feel like you're completely out of sync with the modern world?
Maybe they are out of sync with us?
But how far do the Vatican's religious rules influence their private lives?
When you become a Swiss Guard, do you take a vow of chastity?
No.
Of course not.
No.
We're not priests. We're guards. We're soldiers.
After 5 years, you're allowed to marry while in the Guard. So we don't take a vow of chastity.
We absolutely have the right to have a family or a girlfriend outside.
Of those around the table, only Mark has a girlfriend. He's been at the Vatican for 2 years and has just signed up for another year.
Yes, I've got a girlfriend in Switzerland.
In Switzerland?
Yes.
You were together before?
Yes, we were together before.
But when you said you were going to the Swiss Guard for 2 years, what did she say?
Well, it's clear that she wasn't very happy at first, that's for sure. But I knew that if I didn't do it, I'd regret it all my life. So that was that. She knew that I was leaving for 2 years, but then when it was for longer, let's just say it wasn't easy to convince her and all that. But if it works now, it means that it could work forever.
Swiss Guards have the right to live with a woman in the Vatican. But there are 2 conditions. They must be married, and they must have at least 5 years seniority. In the barracks, things are getting serious. The young recruits have to become soldiers as quickly as possible. This accelerated training is provided by instructors from the Swiss Army. The Swiss Confederation covers half the cost of military training for the Vatican's Swiss Guard. In the mountains of Ticino, in the heart of Italian Switzerland, is the training center for the country's special forces. This is the military training base for new recruits to the Swiss Guard.
Wow.
A toccare i cartelloni ai 30 metri, ritorno, go! Disandrastic metri! Fuoco!
All these young men have already completed 4 months military service. But this is a whole new world for them.
Have you fired a gun before?
Never a pistol. I only shot an assault rifle when I did my military service, but never with a pistol. I have to say it's a lot harder to aim.
Are you guys for real?
This course lasts a month, and the young men will be learning close combat techniques with the special forces of the Swiss police. The aim is to be able to subdue a dangerous individual who has slipped in among the tourists in St. Peter's Square. It's the first time that Grégoire has done this type of close protection exercise.
I can't say I'm surprised, but it's all new. Often, like the tourists, we see the Swiss Guards standing still at the bronze door with their halberds. But that's not all it is. Yes, I enjoy it, but it's also a responsibility that the Swiss Guard must accept, one that is appropriate given today's threats.
For the Vatican, the main danger is not an attack by a terrorist group, but rather the act of an unbalanced person trying to kill the Pope when he is in contact with the faithful.
Okay, halt!
Since his election in 2013, Pope Francis has sought to be close to the public. His appearances have often given those responsible for his security a cold sweat. Swiss Guard Barracks, 5 a.m. A day of high tension begins for René, the corporal, because it's the 2023 Easter Mass, and he will be the Holy Father's bodyguard. For greater discretion, he will be wearing civilian clothes, a black suit, and this rather special tie.
I use it mainly for close protection work, so I can't be pulled by the tie. If someone pulls it, it comes off like this. And it's quicker to put on.
René practices boxing and other martial arts. At 29, he is one of the elite of the Swiss Guard. There are around 30 of them providing close protection for Pope Francis.
When I'm close to him and he moves, I have to be 100% ready. In German we say, which means hope for the best and expect the worst.
He is equipped with handcuffs, tear gas, and a semi-automatic pistol, which he is not allowed to show to the camera. 80,000 pilgrims are expected in St. Peter's Square, where the Pope will celebrate Mass. The Vatican is on its highest state of alert. The entire square is closely monitored. Swiss guards are patrolling the rooftops. At ground level, Italian gendarmes control access. This is the most important day of the year for Catholics. The faithful are celebrating the resurrection of Christ. And tradition dictates that the Pope celebrates Mass in the open, in front of St. Peter's Basilica.
Fratelli e sorelle carissimi, invochiamo la benedizione di Dio nostro Padre.
But for René and the Swiss Guard, the most difficult time is after Mass, when the Pope meets the faithful in his open white car, the famous Pope-mobile. Despite the risks, and despite his age, Pope Francis has always made it a priority to reach out to the faithful. René is taking the lead. That's him at the bottom left of the screen, at the front. He is scanning the crowd. Like all the other Swiss guards, he is thinking of the attack on John Paul II more than 40 years ago. 1981. In exactly the same place, St. Peter's Square, John Paul II was among the faithful. Suddenly, a man in the crowd fired. The Pope collapsed, shot in the abdomen. He was rushed to hospital and only barely survived. It was a traumatic experience for the Swiss Guard, which has since tightened its security protocol. And up till now, there have been no further serious incidents. At the end of the ceremony, the Swiss Guards march past in full armor and uniform. A spectacle some spectators find moving.
It's so traditional. I think it's great to keep a tradition like that alive. And it's mainly young people. That's good too. It shows there are still young people who are committed.
But on that day, there were no new recruits among the troops on parade. The new soldiers aren't ready yet. They still have to go through essential exercises, one of which they particularly dread: the sentry exercise. Gregoire, Leo, and their colleagues have to stand completely still and silent for 1 hour, holding a halberd. And, perhaps surprisingly, it's a skill one must be taught.
Controlling yourself, not moving, not scratching, that's the hardest part. It's a good exercise because boys nowadays aren't used to staying still for 1 or 2 hours without looking at their phone or anything else.
René, the corporal, supervises the exercise.
In German.
He tests the recruits' endurance, one by one. After 30 minutes, Gregoire starts to weaken.
Stay here. Don't turn with your shoulder. Shoulders back.
While Gregoire is struggling for the right position, Leo sails through the test.
It takes a lot of concentration, but once you're into it, time passes quickly.
Respirez profondément.
This is such toxic care, really.
The important thing now is to be sure that their faces don't change color. We have to be ready to act quickly if someone feels unwell.
And has someone ever become ill?
Yes, it happened during this exercise.
Sentry duty is an important part of the job. They can spend up to 4 hours a day guarding the entrances to the Vatican. But popes don't always stay within the walls of their city. Over the past 12 years, Pope Francis has been traveling around the world to meet the faithful and has not hesitated to go to countries considered high risk. The officers of the Swiss Guard are responsible for organizing his travel. Many of the Pope's international trips have been to countries where Christians are a minority. In November 2022, the pontiff visited Bahrain, a small Arab state on the border of Saudi Arabia, where 80% of the population is Muslim. After a 6-hour journey, the plane lands in Manama, the capital of Bahrain. Bahrain is a small kingdom of 1.5 million people that has built its wealth on oil. It is a monarchy ruled with an iron fist by King Al Khalifa. But this Muslim country is known for its tolerance of other religions, which is not common in this part of the world. For Bahrain, a visit from the Pope is a sign of prestige, and it's arranged a lavish welcome worthy of any head of state. The pomp and circumstance does not fit easily with the habits of Pope Francis, who makes his entrance seated next to his driver in a Fiat 500. The car is symbolic for Pope Francis. He has decided to make simplicity and modesty the tenets of his pontificate. For Pope Francis, these diplomatic journeys to Muslim countries are essential. They give him direct access to the leaders, so he can plead the cause of isolated Christian communities in these parts of the world.
The Pope actually is behind the peace in all of the world. So this is a very important thing.
It's a historic visit, it's an important visit, and it helps to strengthen dialogue between religions.
But what's most important for the Pope is tomorrow, when he will address the kingdom's 80,000 Catholics. In Bahrain, the faithful are largely immigrant workers from Asia, mainly from the Philippines and India. The Swiss Guards are already on site, the last inspection before the Pope arrives. Marco is the team leader. This is his 10th official journey.
We look at the space for the Pope Mobile. We look at the passages between the barriers, whether there are volunteers to guard the perimeter, and so on. We can't let our guard down. We have to take all this into consideration, so we are always a bit stressed.
Pope Francis is in the stadium. We ask you all to rise and give you warm welcome as you
30,000 Catholics are in attendance today, representing the new Catholics the Pope wants to address. The Mass takes place without incident in the heart of this Muslim country. Back in Rome. After 8 months of continuous training, the young Swiss guards have gained confidence. Leo, the young man we filmed leaving his family, has been transformed.
C'est une expérience incroyable. Ça me plaît toujours.
It's an incredible experience. I still enjoy it as much as ever. I always say it's the best choice I've ever made in my life. It's an extraordinary emotional learning experience. I also feel much more sure of myself and calm. We're all much calmer.
On est beaucoup plus calme.
There are a lot of people like this who say there's a huge change between the beginning and the end of the 2 years, and that people are often much calmer.
Souvent beaucoup plus calme.
Military training has been stepped up. Today, the recruits are being trained to respond to a terrorist attack in the heart of the Vatican.
Do you really think it could happen here?
Yes, it can happen anywhere, even at home in Switzerland. Here in the Vatican, there's the Pope, the Church. There are people who are angry and people who don't like him. Fortunately, it hasn't happened for a few years now, but it could happen at any time.
Once again, instructors from the Swiss Army have come to Rome to train the recruits on site in real-life situations.
The aim is to identify and neutralize everyone with a weapon. The exercise starts behind this door.
The scenario is that terrorists have broken into the Vatican basements. They are armed and have taken hostages.
Room on the right, room on the left. I take right. Room free.
Leo and his colleague must learn to manage their stress levels. Their aim is to neutralize the attackers without harming civilians.
Arma, ad guardia svizzera, o sparo. Neutralizzato.
Inspired by their faith, Leo and Gregoire are ready to give their lives to protect the Holy Father.
Are you really prepared to sacrifice yourself in the name of your religion for the Pope?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. It's hard to explain. In fact, I don't think it can be explained. When we come here, we know we give our lives for this cause. We don't have to think about it. It's there, and we do it.
It's ready to kill or be killed.
Wouldn't you have a problem killing in the name of God?
I don't know. I've thought about it a lot, precisely because killing in the name of God is still the worst thing that you can do. But I think that if someone runs at the Pope with a knife, I'm not saying I'd be proud to kill that person, but I think it's necessary for the good of the Church.
You can't always turn the other cheek. Located in the heart of the Vatican, the armory bears witness to a long military tradition.
So these are the swords of the officers of the Pontifical Swiss Guard.
Which one is the commander's?
This one is the commander's sword.
Are these real swords that can injure people?
Yes, exactly. These are real swords.
The helmets and breastplates, some of which date back to the 16th century, are still used by the Swiss Guard. Some suits of armor, like this one, are worth a small fortune.
This one is the commander's. This is the vice commander's. We can also see the coat of arms. This is the coat of arms of the Holy Father Benedict XVI, which was made during his pontificate, and this one was made a little later during the pontificate of Francis.
How much is a breastplate like this worth?
I think we'd be looking at around 15,000 euros.
Although it doesn't look it, this is a new suit of armor. But it is forged in the traditional way, entirely by hand. The Vatican has found a talented family of blacksmiths to make it. They live in Austria at the foot of the Alps and work in the purest tradition of medieval blacksmiths.
Oh my God.
Johann and his brother Georg come from a family of craftsmen whose lineage dates back to the 14th century.
It was our father who trained us as blacksmiths, and he learned from my grandfather, who himself had learned from my great-grandfather. It's been handed down from generation to generation. We use traditional techniques, just like in the Middle Ages.
Their family name, Schmiedberger, literally means mountain blacksmiths. The next generation is already here. Maximilian, Georg's son, is just 14 and already works full-time in the workshop. Today, the family forges all the traditional weapons of the Swiss Guard. A suit of armor takes between 100 and 400 hours to make. But at the moment, they are finishing the latest order from the Vatican for halberds, the iconic weapon of the Swiss Guard. It's a weapon with many functions.
So the axe is for hitting the enemy, like this. The hook is to pull him to the ground, and the point, to stab him.
Years ago, the Swiss Guards were almost all killed when Emperor Charles V took the Vatican. Every year, to commemorate their sacrifice, new recruits to the Guards swear an oath on the 6th of May, the anniversary of the massacre.
Are you guys for real?
In a few hours' time, Leo and his friends will be swearing their loyalty to the Pope.
Oh my God.
For the occasion, they will all don the famous armor. 15 kilograms of steel they will have to carry for 6 hours straight.
We swear our life and loyalty to be there for the Pope forever. Even when you finished your 2 years' service, you're still a guard. It's for life. Yeah, it's the real deal.
A rite of passage that Leo's parents are looking forward to. 32 years ago at the same place, his father also took the oath.
How does it feel to come back here to St. Peter's Square?
Once a guard, always a guard. And so, even though I went home to Switzerland after 2 years, a piece of my heart has always stayed here, because this is still a bit like our home here. We feel at home straight away.
Do
you feel that Leo has grown up?
He's left the nest.
Yes, he has.
Exceptionally, the families of the young recruits are allowed into the heart of Vatican City. These 36 young men, just out of their teens, will swear to serve Pope Francis and his successors. To death, if need be. Grégoire's voice is full of passion. After 2 years of service, Leo and Grégoire will have to make a choice: return to Switzerland and become ordinary citizens again, or to continue carrying on this tradition, over 500 years old, of being one of the Swiss Guards who protect the Pope.
This is really amazing, guys. I'll see you again in the next video. We're going to check out the rest parts of this video. It's really amazing. I never for once imagined that the Pope hires securities from Switzerland. And, you know, I never knew Switzerland has this so much dedication into serving the Catholic faith. This is amazing, guys. I really enjoyed every bit of this video. But check the part of the video next time. I'll see you again. Until then, I remain your girl, Lauren. Bye.